The Judgment Day story took some big twists and turns this week, even including a couple of new members, so we'll see what's new there and what's still to come. We'll also check out the latest for Drew McIntyre, CJ Perry, and much more. Starting things off with everything Judgment Day related because it was another big week for them. Team Cody Rhodes was out in the ring first before being interrupted by the Judgment Day, and both teams really tried to stir the pot with the opposite team during this segment. The Judgment Day poked fun at all the members of Cody's team. They asked Seth Rollins how it felt to be world champion, but to be standing next to Cody Rhodes, who he couldn't beat at all in a series of matches back in 2022. They also said that Cody Rhodes can win any match except for a WWE World Title match. Cody Rhodes gave some of the same energy right back to the Judgment Day, questioning them on how they made their way to the ring without their leader, Rhea Ripley, leading the way for them. And this is a topic that easily gets under the Judgment Day's skin. If you call any of the members the leader, they get upset because they insist that they have no leader at all, that they're all just equals. This was even the main pitch that Dominic made to Jey Uso when they were trying to recruit Jey to the group. Dominic told Jey that he wouldn't have to worry about any corrupt leaders like Roman Reigns in the Judgment Day because there's no leader. They rule together. And that was true for the most part, but ever since Fall started, Rhea Ripley has undeniably started to run away with the main leadership position of the Judgment Day. They went from equal leaders to Rhea Ripley obviously being the main decision maker and the one that was always holding everyone responsible for their actions and losses. But even with Rhea clearly being portrayed and acting as a leader, the group still insists that there is no leader. So that's what Damian Priest was about to say here to Cody Rhodes. Once Cody mentioned Rhea Ripley being the leader and how they can't do anything without her, Damian Priest's first answer was the Judgment Day has no leader and she's not the leader. But as Cody kept pushing on him and egging him on, Damian Priest eventually snapped on Cody Rhodes and declared himself as the true leader of the Judgment Day. And that was a big moment right there for the Judgment Day because no one has declared themselves as the leader of the group ever since Edge was kicked out of the faction way back in 2022. Even with Rhea Ripley truly acting as the group's leader in recent months, she never declared herself as the true leader of the group. It's kind of like the unwritten rule for the Judgment Day, you just don't declare yourself as the group's leader publicly like that. So Damian Priest really shattered the rule right there with that moment. But later on in the night, Damian Priest officially welcomed JD McDonagh into the Judgment Day backstage, due to how JD took one for the team earlier in the night. So once again, the act of welcoming someone into the group as an official member is something that only a leader has the capability of doing. So this was another example of Damian Priest flexing at least his own belief that he is the true leader of the Judgment Day. And Damian Priest bringing in JD McDonagh almost feels like if it's a shot at Rhea Ripley from Damian Priest, because Rhea has never been too fond about JD McDonagh joining the Judgment Day. Sure, Rhea has warmed up a bit more to the idea of JD being an honorary outside helper to the Judgment Day, but at no time was Rhea even crazy about officially bringing JD in. So for Damian Priest to officially bring in JD McDonagh into the group without talking things over with Rhea Ripley and the group beforehand is actually pretty insane and a dangerous move on Damian's part. But by the end of the night, Rhea Ripley basically kicked this same energy right back to Damian Priest with a Judgment Day edition of her own. Right when things started looking dicey for Damian Priest and Finn Balor's tag team titles against Cody and Jey, Drew McIntyre appeared to turn heel and help the Judgment Day retain their tag team titles. Drew McIntyre walked up the ramp and proceeded to shake Rhea Ripley's hand, a clear indication that they were working on a deal with each other, and Drew has officially accepted that offer. So things are interesting now with the Judgment Day because it now seems that there's a power struggle going on within the group with its two leaders, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. And the November 13th edition of Raw was huge because it featured both Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest acting as the leader and bringing in new members without really talking things over with the rest of the group. Both of them truly acting on their own. And when it comes to these two new members that they brought in and seeing which two of them made the bigger move, you just gotta give it to Rhea Ripley with Drew McIntyre. It's not a knock at JD McDonagh at all, but he's still very early in his WWE career and has a bright future ahead. But Drew McIntyre, on the other hand, is a former multiple-time WWE World Champion, former Royal Rumble winner, WrestleMania headliner, so he's obviously the bigger and more impressive pickup for the Judgment Day over JD McDonagh. So right when Damian Priest thought he had the biggest move of the night by bringing JD into the group, Rhea Ripley outshined him in a major way by bringing in Drew McIntyre into the Judgment Day and adding Drew to the War Games match. So this power struggle, leadership war between Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest appears to be kicking into full gear, and everyone believes that the member to get kicked out and dismissed from the group once this leadership battle concludes will be Damian Priest. Priest has been rumored to be the next individual to leave the Judgment Day for a long time now, and this new story of him trying to contest Rhea Ripley as the group's leader appears to be the way that Damian Priest could exit the group. And that's what everyone has been saying for a while now. Damian Priest has the Money in the Bank contract, he's about to become the next WWE World Heavyweight Champion, so it doesn't look like he really needs the group anymore, and will break free on his own soon in the near future, and continue as World Heavyweight Champion when the time is right. But as far as War Games goes, the Judgment Day now has their fifth man with Drew McIntyre. It'll be up to Cody Rhodes to find his fifth man, which everyone in the world right now believes to be Randy Orton. The November 13th Raw crowd was even chanting for Randy Orton after Raw had gone off the air. So lots of exciting things coming up there for everyone involved with the War Games match. CJ Perry, formerly known as Lana in WWE, is currently at the start of her run with AEW and will be up to big things over there. But CJ Perry made some waves in the community when she shared with rising Hollywood star Sydney Sweeney on Instagram and even reposted Sydney's post on her Instagram story. So it's always pretty fascinating to see these little crossovers between Hollywood and the wrestling universe, and hopefully we continue to see more of them in the future. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.